Do you know NinjaTrader's Order Flow Plus feature set? I will make a quick brief of each tool, and as you might have seen in my videos, some of them are really crucial for my trading approach. Hope you enjoy. So now I will show you here in my chart how are those indicators. Okay, if you right click in the area of the chart and goes to indicators, you should look at order flow. All the indicators start with order flow, and we have here 5 indicators. First one is the cumulative delta. What is its objective? Cumulative delta shows the activity from sellers and buyers. In this case, it's the net difference from buyers and sellers. That means each candle you will see in the chart indicates who was the most aggressive in that candle. If we're the buyers, it shows in green, and the sellers in red. That means it sums the volume. In the case the most aggressive, or if the close if the trade was closed by a buyer aggression, it sums the volume. And then if it was closed by a seller aggression, hitting the bid, then it subtracts the volume. Okay, and this is the accumulate result in the screen. So the red candle shows that sellers led the trades in that candle. That candle was formed from more the aggressive selling orders than buying orders. Okay, and many times the intention here is to confirm trends. For example, if you have a downtrend in price and a downtrend in cumulative delta, it shows that it's aligned. You could actually have a downtrend, but if you have a divergence between them, you could not actually have a trend, or maybe close to a reversal. Okay, so this was the cumulative delta. Second one is the market depth. I don't use it on charts, but this info is important for me, and I use it at Superdome. Here in the chart, you may see for the full here and the close to the price reference to the y-axis, and it means it sums the volume of each level of price. In my case, I only use it to know how is the market depth. I mean, if there's a big liquidity or few liquidity, it's an indication about market liquidity. Okay, for example, close to economic data release, regardless was the average depth of market, you see a dramatically reduction in this number of contracts in the level 2, okay, or this number of contracts summed here in depth of market. So this for me is the main indication for liquidity at each moment of the market. Third one is the trade detector. This is an indicator that you can configure, you can set up here and define the size or the numbers you want to be displayed in your chart. In this example, I've established to show the level of price with more than 500 contracts traded. For example, this big red circle here, it involves the negotiation of 2,994 contracts, and you can also get here the info about who was most aggressive. For example, here we had all the contracts and the entire amount hit by the sellers. Okay, it was in selling aggressions. So the size of the circle defines you the size of the trade, the size, the amount of contracts traded at that price, and the color means that if it were led by sellers, in the case of red circles, or the responsible for the trades were the buyers in the blue. And these colors you can also change the setup as well. So it's a visual tool that can help you. I don't use it, but it can help you. Instead of keep reading, it can highlight you when something important happens. The fourth indicator in the order flow tools are the volume profile, and this one is crucial for my trading approach. The volume profile shows the volume traded in each level of price. Okay, even though I look at time-based charts, in terms of defining support and resistance, I prefer to look the volume perspective, and the time is not that important for me. So I use the volume profile to understand where was concentrated the most volume, the highest amount of contracts traded, okay, where is the volume, and then it's useful to define support and resistance as well. It also shows an important info that is the value area. That is basically a region that concentrates a certain percentage of the trades in that session or in that week. You establish the time frame you want to use. Okay, so usually market takes as reference 68 or 7% of that period trades within its limits. Okay, and it also shows you the point of control that is the highest volume traded in that time frame you established. Okay, so market really looks at this number, and it's helpful to have them before session starts. It's helpful to define supports and resistance, and maybe to find where possible trades could be. The last indicator here is the VWAP, that is the volume weighted average price. And this is one that I also use as reference. Even though it shows ranges or bands, I prefer not to only these other bands that is based on standard deviation. I prefer to use only the pure indicator, okay, only the average. So this is the pure indicator without the standard deviations and without the base. And this is basically not a simple moving average, but is weighted according to the volume traded in each price. And this is especially in the daily chart, in the daily basis, you can use regardless the time frame you are using. I like using the VWAP for the session based on the volume of the session. Okay, and many times it leads to good trades being as support or resistance. It does not mean that I let a pending order before it reaches the view up, but since I trade based in order flow, I take the view up as reference, and if I see, for example, an exhaustion or an abnormal absorption and around it, then it can lead me to take a decision of entering or not in a trade. Okay. Another very important tool that is also crucial for my trading approach is not an indicator, but if you follow me, if you see my videos, you see the volumetric bars. So if you take a chart, for example, here, this 15-minute chart, you can just right click and go to data series, and in type of data series, you select volumetric. Then you get this footprint chart in which every candle has the number of contracts traded and responsible for the aggression for closing the trend. But for me, actually, doesn't matter the candles itself, the move itself. I see through the other charts. Here, what only matters for me is the activity in the latest candle. I understand to what I want is to carefully understand what's happening to see who was the responsible, who is been more aggressive in real time at current time, if there's any abnormal move or abnormal aggression or absorption, okay, and see who is the responsible or try to identify who is moving the market at that time, or if we have an exhaustion, find out a possible reversal. Okay, so only the latest candle matters, and you see that I have this just as a column, but it actually is a chart, a complete chart. Okay, so basically in a brief, these are the indicators included in the order flow plus suite from NinjaTrader. Now it's easier because you can subscribe it in a monthly basis, so you can try it, and if you're not adapted or if order flow you conclude it's not for you, you can pay just 1 or 2 months the time enough to see whether you like it or not. Okay, so hope you have enjoyed. Leave your like in the video if you really like it, and any doubt, please just drop me a comment and I would be glad in answering you. See you in next videos.